Hi, welcome to my channel. We're back for a Service Dog Friday Q&A. Here's Tomlin. Hi, Tomlin, you want to say hi? There you go. Say hi. Well, I've been asked a couple of times since talking about the trip to Alaska that we've got coming up in 2019. A few of you have asked, is our long trips safe for a service dog? So, Susan, I'm answering that question for you. Now, I've talked about service dogs and road trips before. And if you followed my channel for long, then you know that this is not going to be Tomlin's first really long road trip. This is actually going to be his third time driving to Alaska or riding to Alaska. Now, we do everything we can to keep it as safe as possible, okay? Because if I don't take care of him, he can't take care of me. So keeping him healthy is a really big deal. There should be another video here on the channel. I'll try to find it and link to it below, specifically on keeping him safe on a road trip. Of course, the first thing that you want to do is make sure he's healthy to begin with. Take him to the vet, get all the shots all together, because you're going to want to take a copy of his health records and or a health certificate with you on the road trip. But yeah, long road trips can be safe. You're also going to want to make sure that you walk him frequently and keep checking in with him. Pay attention. If he starts acting strange, monitor those symptoms. Use a leash. We do all the regular things that you would do on any other trip that we take with him. So it's the same as the trip that we just took going to Arkansas and then Biloxi. CJ, the traveling man, says, saying, hello, long time no see, you're on the road, I'm on the road. That's cool, CJ. Yeah. I've been tied up with school, so that's kind of kept me from being online much, and here it is kind of late, and we're just now doing Service Dog Friday, which I'd forgotten about, and a lady named Susan sent me a message saying, hey, I'm taking my service dog on a long trip next week and really need you to do this. And I was like, oh yeah, it's Friday. So, but school ends in 2 weeks. So I should be back on my regular track. So, but yeah, it has all those regular road trip tips that you would normally take for a dog. Follow those if you're going on a long trip. Now, Susan, you had specifically also asked about crossing the border into Canada. Tomlin, my dog, is a service dog, so you're in kind of a little bit of a different situation. I didn't have any problems taking him across border into Canada, but check to make sure, because rules change. I was limited. The one thing about it is I was limited on the amount of dog food that I could bring, and I had to take something that was, allowable in Canada. So just double check that. And let's see, CJ says, last video, I remember you were checking for bed bugs in a hotel. Yep, I did that one. Wow, the screen just got orange. I don't know what happened. Yeah, I did that on the hotel, and that's something that if you stay in a hotel, which was a good point, CJ, because if you stay in a hotel and obviously you've got a dog, you might want to make sure you check for bed bugs, because you don't want any little hitchhikers or anything bothering your dog like that. So I'm glad you mentioned that, CJ. So, he's over here snoring again. Granny Monster popped in. Hi, Granny Monster. How are you? I just popped on. I got a message from a lady named Susan, who I hope is going to join us. She was specifically asking about keeping him safe on a road trip on a service dog Q&A. So she's leaving Monday, so I thought I better hop on and answer that. Granny Monster says, I'm good and taking it easy on this Friday the 13th. Woohoo! Now, Granny Monster, is Friday the 13th your, like, almost national holiday? J. Kurt Vivo says, hi there. Hi there, J. Kurt. Yeah. So, Granny Monster says, we dance in the streets. That's cool. So, yeah, I just want to reassure you guys, Susan, that, yeah, it is okay. And when you take your dog into Canada, just check with them. Make sure that you follow all of their guidelines, all of the rules. You should have no problems. I have not had any problems at all. So, yeah, but we always make sure we have the health certificate and that we dot our I's and cross our T's appropriately. So you guys that are in the chat or anything, have anything you want to add to that? Okay, well, I'm going to keep that really short tonight, just because I wanted to get her Service Dog Friday question answered. So I'm going to let him go back to... Oh, you're awake now. Oh, Granny Monster wants to know what's the longest you've traveled together. Probably it's going to be Alaska. One year we drove from... Whoa! I don't know what's going on with my light there. In 2015, we drove from East Tennessee to Alaska. First we went to Seward, which is on the Kenai Peninsula, going in like the southern part of Alaska. So we drove from there on up to the Arctic Circle and then came back home. So that would probably be the longest, because we actually went across Canada twice, going and coming. He's got a lot of dogs under his, a lot of miles under his paws, more so than most dogs. This last time that we went to Alaska, we drove down to Homer, which is on the very southernmost tip of the Kenai Peninsula. And from Homer, we drove north on up to Fairbanks. We didn't get to go to the Arctic Circle because time was not on our side for that portion of the trip. And he's been to Montana, and he's been this last trip to Arkansas and Biloxi. And we've been to Florida a few times. We've been to Washington several times when my daughter was in school there from East Tennessee. So he's been in the car a lot. And then Granny Monster says, well, Tomlin has been or is going places I've never seen, which is wonderful. Yeah, he's really well traveled. I'm really blessed. You know, a lot of dogs have problems with car sickness, and we've never seen any indication of that with Tomlin. It has made it easier since getting the van camper, and that's because he has more room. He can walk back and forth the length of the van, which isn't much, but it's not like being crammed in the back seat of a car. You know, my other car is a PT Cruiser, so compared to that, there's a lot more space in that van camper. And it allows us to keep food out, keep water out. He's got his toys, he's got his treats, we've got fans blowing everywhere. He's got a pretty cushy life. He can get up on the bed of the van, he can get in the middle of the front seats between us. If we have to go pump gas, he gets in the front seat. He thinks he's driving usually. Pretty pampered. I'm thinking about getting a t-shirt saying, I've been everywhere, man. Except he wouldn't wear it. Yeah. He's now gone back to sleep. Granny Monster says, ha ha ha, so needed though. Yeah. It fits him. That could be his motto. But yeah, I don't know how he would do wearing the shirt. I don't even know if I could get it on over his fur. Maybe he needs that on a dog bed. You know, he might. Or a blanket. Would you want that on your own blanket, Tomlin? But yeah, it is safe to travel on a long road trip, and you know, you just have to watch. One of the things you have to watch is exercising him enough. So I look at it this way: I have to get out and exercise, and he does too. So we'll get out we'll go out to a rest area, and we'll stop pretty frequently. So that's, you know, a half hour or an hour walk there at the rest out area. And the rest of the time it's shorter walks, and of course playing with him. And CJ says, you guys have wonderful trips. And Granny Monster says, Blinks, Tomlin merch. Yeah. And yeah, CJ, we do. Now, on the big trips, pretty much the only reason we're able to like go to Alaska and stuff is because it's a part of a mission trip. You know, we could never afford it otherwise. So when there's a mission trip like that, we get to take the team stuff, which means they don't have to pay to take an extra suitcase. We can take some of the dry goods that we need for the trip. This last trip, oh my gosh, the last 2 trips have been for vacation Bible schools, and like every inch of the van was stuffed, and I think the other inches that weren't stuffed had dog in them because there wasn't much space to move. But on the other hand, that fundraising enabled us to drive the stuff up there. And then while we were up there, we were able to take a vacation time and see some more of the state, which was really pretty neat. Alaska's a beautiful place. And it's probably like the most dog-friendly place on the planet. You know, even if you don't have a service dog, a lot of the places allow dogs. People are very accepting, very accommodating of dogs in general in Alaska. I feel really comfortable traveling there. And Granny Monster says, ha ha ha, fill up, next bus, please. Well, I actually have a list of takers for this next trip. So I told a friend of mine, I said, what do you want me to do? Tie people on the roof? And she said, let me think about it. Yeah, it's kind of fun. You do have to be careful, though. One of the things about going to a different area with your service dog is researching ahead of time. Like, there were parts in Alaska. For example, the salmon were spawning. And seeing them run was pretty cool. But there was one portion on the Kenai Peninsula, I think it was Sterling Highway, that we went to, and there was this big crowd of people. So we pulled over to see what was going on, and we started to get out of the van. And at the very last second, I thought, I wonder if it's a grizzly bear, because we were right next to a large creek or a small river. And so sure enough, there's grizzlies. So we just left Tomlin in the car. We also didn't stay long, just enough to get a really blurry picture. And CJ says, what about Adams, Tennessee, Bell Witch Cave area? I have not been there yet. I haven't done too much in the western portion of the state. That kind of northwestern corner and several parts in that direction I haven't gotten to yet. It's on my list. Of course, I keep growing the list. Yeah. But I figure I'll get there one day. Granny Monster says, sounds like my kind of place, Gayle and CJ. It might be. There are some, you'll have to look it up online. There are some interesting stories about that going on. really interesting stories about that. Okay. Well, I hate to cut this super short tonight, but I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. He's sleepy, and I am too, so I just wanted to pop on and answer Susan's question. And CJ and Granny Monster, I have appreciated hanging out with you all. So thank you for watching. And I guess we're going to see you all out about and online. Right, Tomlin? Maybe. Thanks for watching. And Granny says, thanks, Gayle, Tomlin, and CJ. Take care and have blessings. And CJ, the traveling man, says, hey, Granny. So thank y'all again. Good night.